The Bengals have placed the franchise tag on Tee Higgins. Now, if you watch this channel or check out BengalsTalk.com, that isn't news to you. But what does it mean? Does it mean the Bengals are far apart in contract talks with Tee? Does it mean that they're considering trading him? Will they sign him to a long-term deal? Get all of those answers right now on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into CBT. I'm James Rapien of BengalsTalk.com. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and make sure that you get the breaking news when it breaks right here on YouTube, or listen wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, or Amazon. And let's dive in and dive into the news of Monday, and that's Tee Higgins. The Bengals placed the franchise tag on Tee Higgins. Shocker. Shouldn't shock anyone. He's set to make $26.16 million this year. And what does it mean? Well, this was inevitable. This was something the Bengals were always going to do. It's not something that you should overreact to. I've seen some say, oh my gosh, they placed the tag on Monday at 2:30 in the afternoon. They did that on Monday at 2:30 in the afternoon. They had until Tuesday at 4 p.m. to get something done long-term with Tee. Before that franchise tag deadline. This tag is a formality, ladies and gentlemen. I wouldn't read too much into when they did it and what that says about contract talks. The bottom line is this. BengalsTalk.com, you go there. February 17th, what did we have? The Bengals plan to franchise tag Tee Higgins. This was always going to happen. It was pretty unlikely that they would get a long-term deal done before placing the tag on Tee. They knew it. He knew it. Everybody knew it. You knew it if you read that article or check this out right here on CBT. And so now what does it mean? Now is when the real negotiating starts. Now is when, if you're Tee Higgins' representatives, Rocky Arsenault, and that entire group over there, which is his new agency at Alliance Sports, or you're the Cincinnati Bengals. Now is the time. Now is the time, if you're the Bengals, to get a long-term deal done. And it's very simple because you don't want $26+ million of your cap space going to a one-year deal for Tee Higgins while negotiating all these long-term deals in free agency. You want as much flexibility and maneuverability and ability as you can to add to this team, to add what should be a championship level roster and can be a championship level roster if you make the necessary changes and additions in free agency. That's where it starts. And so for me, it's very, very simple. The Bengals have all the motivation to get it done. Oh, but what about Tee Higgins? Well, he's tagged. He's not going to become a free agent. He's not going to be able to entertain the Titans or the Patriots or any of these other teams that were hoping to get Tee Higgins. And there were a lot of teams hoping to get Tee Higgins. And that's why if you're the Bengals, you tag him. That's why if you're Tee's representatives, you make sure that they use the tag on you. You force them to use the tag on you. Because if you get to free agency, you're going to make a ton of money. And so this makes it pretty simple. Exclusive negotiating rights. Now, it's a non-exclusive tag. Technically, a team could give up 2 first if they wanted to go that route. And you know, you could go down the trade Tee path. I think that's a very unlikely path. I don't think that the Bengals are in the market of trading Tee Higgins. In fact, when I pull up the Bengals release after tagging Tee Higgins, they said, quote, with the intent of continuing to work toward a long-term deal in Cincinnati. It's a much different tone than last year. And so that's the plan. The plan is the plan. The Bengals plan on keeping Tee long-term. Tee Higgins wants to be in Cincinnati long-term. And Joe Burrow certainly wants Tee Higgins in Cincinnati long-term. So it's about getting it done now. Now it's about getting it done. Duke Tobin could say what he said at the combine, and it was all the right things. And Tee Higgins can say he wants to stay in Cincinnati. That's great. Now's the time to work out the deal. Now is the time to hammer out the details to get this done. Because if you can get it done, what it's going to do, it's going to lower Tee Higgins' cap hit from $26 million this year to, say, 18 or 15 or whatever the case is. I mean, you could be really flexible with how you do that, because you're going with a signing bonus there that can give Tee some upfront money and also maneuver around the cap. So the Bengals, yeah, they did this But that doesn't mean that they plan on trading him, because I don't think there's even any intention of that happening. Now, could it change down the line? Maybe, but I actually think that's pretty low, like 1%, 5%, pretty low chance of that happening. And I think long-term deal is the most likely scenario, 75%, let's say, maybe higher than that. And then there is a scenario where I guess Tee Higgins has to play it out, but they have until July 15th to work this out. But Tuesday was never a deadline. The deadline is free agency and really the legal tampering period. But even then, even with the legal tampering period, the deals aren't signed. So you have a few more days, but you have about 8 days here where it would be really nice if you're the Bengals to get this done. And so for me, the deadline is this week. Just get it done. Get it done. Is it $28 million per year? Is it 4 years? Is it 3 years? Guaranteed money-wise, yeah, he's due $26 million guaranteed with that tag. You know that. So he's going to want more guaranteed money or a hefty signing bonus. Figure out the structure. Figure it out. Get it done. Done. You do that, yeah, Jamar Chase is going to cost you, but you don't have to get that done before free agency. He's at $22 million in cap room, or in a $22 million cap hit. So yeah, you'd save a little bit of money in cap room if you get him done. But T is the one where it could go way down, I would say. Jamar could too, depending on how you structure it. But you want to get T done. He's the bigger cap hit anyway. The Bengals released Alex Cappa today, and we'll cover that in depth on End of the Jungle on Tuesday night at 8 Eastern. But they free up plenty of cap space, and they're going to free up even more. Sam Hubbard, his future is certainly in question. But when they do move on from Sam Hubbard, you're talking about a $9+ million cap savings there. And there's rumors about a trade. I don't think a trade is likely. I think it's more the other way. It's like, all right, Sam's had multiple serious injuries. Does he want to keep playing, knowing that it could really be elsewhere? That I think that's a real question. And it could be true, right? I think that's, where he gets released and moves on and signs with another team. I don't think he has much value in the league right now. And I'm not sure if you're Jerry Montgomery, the new defensive line coach for the Bengals, or Al Golden, as good as Sam Hubbard has been, multiple serious injuries now, that tightrope ankle surgery, you probably just want to retool that defensive front. And so that very well could be what they do with Sam Hubbard. Regardless, the Bengals have cap space. They have cash. They have maneuverability to get T done, to get Jamar done, to get Trey done, and to be active in free agency. I do think it would be super beneficial to get a long-term deal done with Tee Higgins this week, certainly before free agency opens, just to know what the books look like. The Bengals certainly want to know what the books look like, and they can forecast things and project things. But when you have it set in stone, it's much, much easier to be aggressive, which is exactly what they need to be in free agency. Please hit that subscribe button right here on YouTube. Listen wherever you get your podcast, including Apple, Spotify, and Amazon. And for Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. How are you feeling about the Bengals cornerback room right now?
It's the same. It's the same roster, except people are recovering from it. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same. If I'm the Bengals, I'm doing everything I can, free agency and draft. What are you going to do? What are you going to do at cornerback? They cannot do what they have, because they tried it and it didn't work.